and welcome to a brand new episode of TVG Talk. My name is Paco Treviño, and today I'm joined by Lauro Chapa.
Hello, guys.
And today we'll be discussing our favorite games that we saw at E3. Basically, we are going to talk about two games each, and then we'll move on to the game that we're all excited for. It was the most tweeted game of E3, so we're pretty sure you know what we're talking about. So, well, without further ado, Lauro, why don't you start with one of the games that you are hyped the most for E3?
Sure. First off, I'm going to start with The Last of Us 2. I think that since I think it was last E3, or I don't remember if it was two back, that we saw the first tease or trailer for Last of Us Part 2. We saw that the universe was now much more gruesome, and everybody's like more on edge and crazier this time. You know, the first Last of Us was one of my favorite games of recent time. I think that a lot of people got surprised by, you know, how Naughty Dog perfected that type of narrative game with Uncharted games and put it in another scenario. So this time around, when they put that trailer with Ellie being in a party and simultaneously like just destroying some people and zombies and whatnot, I think it seems really interesting. You know how that world progressed, and I think that the gameplay shows a lot of promising things.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely agree with you. The Last of Us Part 2 is probably one of the most amazing games in terms of the visuals and the complete overhaul of the series. I mean, like you were saying, I didn't know that it could be more of a no man's land out there, you know?
Yeah,
It looks. I mean, the really amazing thing about it is that it does feel like these few people that have survived all this time would be more on edge, would be more on, what's next, and including Ellie, like she looks like scruffy and kind of like shaky. I don't know. It looks really intense.
yeah,
And like you're saying, like Naughty Dog has perfected this art form of pretty much uh, interactive movies. So yeah, we shall see how they manage that, I suppose.
yeah. We'll see where they take the story, and we'll also see maybe if this is going to be like the last chapter in the Last of Us, or at least like this particular story or whatever, or if it's going to have maybe a third part or even a fourth one like Uncharted.
Yeah, it. I guess it will depend on how Naughty Dog sees the games going forward. I mean, if
Yeah,
they say, I mean, I don't think that it's just about if they sell or not, because
sure.
Naughty Dog is a lot of being, they work on some games and then pass them off to another studio and then they do something new.
Hmm.
So we shall see what's next for Naughty Dog, but yeah, it will be very interesting to see where they take the story. Uh, do you think that we'll be seeing more of Ellie's girlfriend, or is that like maybe a minor thing within the game?
No, I think it's going to be play a big part. I think probably she's gonna like die or something to make it more like, you know, a crazier scenario, or to feel more for Ellie. You know,
Yeah, because
because
it's a huge contrast of what we see of her on that dance and then what we see of her when she's fighting for her life. It's a completely
right,
different scenario. So yeah, like you're
right,
saying, maybe she dies or something.
yeah, maybe that's what make her be like that after. Yeah, so I
Yeah,
think yeah she's gonna play a big part. I mean, if not in the story, at least in Ellie's life, definitely.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. That's probably the best way to put it. Like she's gonna be important, but in one way or another.
Hmm.
So, what do you think about taking this opportunity of talking about Last of Us Two? What did you think about the way that Sony presented it with whole sort of temple thing going on?
Well, at first I thought it was interesting. I mean, I as the conference went on, it was weird that they were presenting sort of all the games with a musical entrance, and I think I it started to get kind of boring if I'm honest. Like those songs are not really meant to be played without any gameplay or something like that. So it was kind of weird. The setting thing was interesting because we were like, hey, what why is the Sony conference in a kind of church or whatever? But when we saw the gameplay, it was like, oh, that's why. But
Yeah,
then
right.
they took them out of there and took them to another show floor, so it was actually kind of weird then, because the next one was not themed or nothing. So at the end, it was weird.
Yeah, it was probably the dumbest thing that they moved the audience. I mean, why would you even do that? Just have the same room for the entire thing. I don't know. That's
Right.
just my opinion, I guess.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, I like the setting. But yeah, like changing them, like moving them, and then uh, having all these musical numbers with the guy on the flute and whatnot. Like
Hmm.
the game itself can put you in the mood with the opening of the trailer. It can
Yeah.
hook you that way. You don't need the guy at the beginning, especially if it's going to be so I don't know, so untethered from the rest of the showcase.
Hmm.
Well, so I guess that it's my turn for my first game of the
Yeah,
day,
go ahead.
and my first game is Fire Emblem, and honestly, this game is shaping to be something of what I was hoping to see, which is a return of certain things from the home console Fire Emblems, alongside some innovations from Shadows of Valentia, alongside with new things altogether, furthering the games. And I mean, it has like this. I'm pretty sure that we talked about this before on the channel, where I wanted Shadows of Valentia to be sort of a temple for Fire Emblem, where
Uh huh.
we now have the voice acting and the exploration in places, and the art style, like redefining Fire Emblem in that way.
Yeah.
And it seems to be doing all that, so I'm pretty excited about that aspect. And also the whole reimagining of how the combat now has all these kind of pawn soldiers. It seems to have a much more epic scale overall.
Yeah.
What do you think about Fire Emblem?
Yeah. I mean, I'm as excited for it as you are. I think that we were due for a home console Fire Emblem. I mean, I know the Switch is kind of hybrid, but whatever. Um, yeah, the art style looks beautiful. I'm eager to know more about the story and the characters, and maybe maybe its relation to other Fire Emblems. Who knows? But yeah, the gameplay seems very solid. Seems that they picked up the best parts from other Fire Emblems and learned from them and whatnot. So yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait to see more of the game overall. It seems to be pretty
Hmm.
exciting, and I think that there were some hints about it being again like it's a different kingdom altogether. It seems, but what I'm getting
It
at is
does.
that it seems to be how to put it again going on at the same time as the original Fire Emblem and as Shadows of
Simultaneous, yeah.
Valentia. Yeah, because I think that Shadows of Valentia is going simultaneously with the second Marth game, which I've never played.
Yeah, but uh-huh.
I think that in the Game Explain video or somewhere or I read this somewhere where they said like, oh, there's this character, so maybe this is connected this way. I don't know. They were like
Oh,
connecting the dots, so that was
right.
interesting too. And that makes me wonder
Hmm.
if the leak that we saw a couple months ago about Marth showing up in the game is true. Uh, but well,
Yeah.
we shall see what's going on with that game.
Yeah, we should.
So what's your next game for the day?
My next one is going to be a game called Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. is a new game from Software. Uh, so when I saw it, I realized that they teased it back at the Game Awards, or I don't remember what was it, where a lot of people thought that they were teasing maybe Bloodborne 2 because of what they were showing in the tease. But I think that they were actually teasing this game, which is weird because it's a new IP, sort of. Well, it is a new IP. So, I mean, how would we know that they were teasing that? That's weird. But, I mean, what we saw of the gameplay, it looks really, really good. It's like, if Bloodborne is like a more action Dark Souls, this seems like much more action than Bloodborne, and less of the like unfair gameplay that From Software is known from. They added like lots of interesting elements of kind of 3D platforming with the climbing and some abilities that a ninja would have, and some interesting combat elements and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. It looks great, and in a sense, I do think that it's kind of a spiritual successor or a game very similarly in the style of Bloodborne. Correct me if I'm wrong there.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, all the games from there are kind of spiritual successors.
Yeah, so I mean, it looks great, honestly. Like it looks great visually. The gameplay looks super solid. Honestly, I don't know how far in development they are. It looks really
Yeah.
solid. So, I mean, I'm not as hyped as you are, but I definitely would like to check it out if the opportunity arrives. I mean, especially if they release like a demo or
Yeah.
something.
Sure.
And on another note, it's very interesting how we got a lot of games that had this sort of samurai or feudal Japan uh, theme. It's pretty interesting because while it is a theme that we've seen explored before in games, I don't think that I have ever seen so many games at the same time doing something similar.
Yeah, right. It's almost as if they knew what each other were doing, and they wanted to um, be the best one at that particular art style or whatever.
They think it's the new, like, when we had like the
Battle Royale.
FPSs and now it's the Battle Royale, like now it's going to be
Right.
like feudal Japan games.
Hmm.
Well, what they say that happens there is that they do market research and they seem to find like what's hot right now, and apparently a lot of people landed on that. We should see what's going on there.
That's weird. Yeah.
So, why don't we move on to our final game from E3, which is technically. Oh no, I'm totally wrong there. I have a game missing. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So, is it okay if I move on to my next game?
Sure. Sure. Sure.
So, my next game is Fallout 76. It's a very, very interesting game. I have to admit right off the bat that I'm worried about a few aspects about it, but the reason that
Mm-hmm.
I'm very excited is because it seems to be this new trend from Bethesda where they have the main series, so to speak, going on in this single player adventures, and then we have like the online multiplayer stuff, and that's why I'm
Yeah.
very very accepting of this concept, because it doesn't seem to be taking away the original stuff, uh, and so I think that it looks great. I think that the way that they decided to make the game very co-op focused will be very interesting, and at the same time
Mm-hmm.
they apparently made it work in single player, so it will be very interesting and very, I don't know, I'm intrigued, honestly intrigued to see how they will balance all that, because maybe sometimes I'll be able to play, I don't know, with you or with other friends, and sometimes maybe I just want to do it all by myself. So I'm very interested to
Right.
see how the experience changes, and if I don't know, because games in the past that have done this usually don't work. Like they give you the option for you to feel that you have your money's worth. But then you actually play it and say, oh, this is a game that you have to play co-op, even if it's technically possible to do it by yourself. So, I mean, we shall see. And the utter destruction with the nukes that they showed, like, you can steal nuclear codes and kill everyone, and have the West Virginia full of nuclear shrooms, So
Yeah.
I don't know. What did you think about Fallout 76?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like you're saying very interesting. I've seen a lot of comments of people kind of like on the edge or like scared because of this multiplayer aspect. They think that maybe it's changing the genre too much that they love, but if they do a good work balancing, like you said, like the single player still feels the same as other Fallouts, then I mean, why not? And sometimes changing the genre for a game or two works, and people like that.
Yeah, I wonder how people will receive it once it comes out, because
Yeah,
it's tricky to be able to tell people like, hey, the multiplayer, because like there's this resentment towards the online multiplayer only games, where EA and I believe other developers have come out and said, oh yeah, the single player is dead, multiplayer is what you actually guys want. So it will be interesting how people receive a game that's known to be a not isolating game, and
yeah,
make it a online multiplayer. Like it's such a night and day difference. It's like, I don't know, making a Metroid game multiplayer. And I'm not talking about Federation Force because it's a completely different game. But making, I don't know, a sequel to Super Metroid and making it 2 players. And it's like, wait, what?
right.
Like, this is not clicking with me. So we shall see how they work it out. But, only time will tell. So, what do you say we move on to our final game?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so let's move on to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Now, unlike some other games here, we didn't know that it was called that, but we had already seen the first teaser, so we shall see. Well, let's first off talk about first impressions, talk about what we think about the game, the way that it was announced, etc. So, first off, Lauro, I'd like to ask you, what do you think about the way that it was presented to us?
I think it was presented to us in a really nice way. Like, they told us lots of things that we wanted to hear. First off, like, they focused on some new mechanics of the game, the roster, that everybody was returning to it. Of course, the name, first of all, and yeah, I mean, I think everybody was pleased with how they presented the game to us. And a first impression of a game is always important. So yeah, they're winning right there with that.
Yeah, I love how every time Smash is announced, the first character that they show is Mario.
Yeah.
If you stack together the reveals of every Smash game, the first trailers, you will see Mario changing and Mario evolving with the games. I find that to be very, very cool, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And another thing that I liked is that, like, Nintendo knows how crazy fans are about Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
Because the way that they presented it, they didn't say, and here's Masahiro Sakurai. And they didn't say, and here's Smash. No, they said, and we are going to show you now a game that we know that you are really waiting for. And they cut to Masahiro Sakurai, and everyone goes crazy. And
yeah.
it was pretty cool, honestly. It feels really fan servicey, and in the best way possible, of course.
Uh-huh.
And well, what do you think about the game? You know, everyone is here, and overall the concept of being the ultimate version of Smash.
Um, I think that's really interesting. I mean, they have lots of content from all the four Smash games, or even five, I guess, because now the 3DS is gonna kind of count as five because there's some stages coming from that, and maybe even modes and whatnot. From all those games to gather around and be able to make a game with that concept. I think it's really interesting that they did it now. Mm, some people might think that, well, if they're doing this, maybe this is the last Smash ever, and they'll just continue adding content to it for the rest of time, or at least in a very long time, right? So yeah, it's a really interesting concept, and I really liked it.
You know that thing that you said about this being a Smash game that they will add upon. That seems like it's going to probably be that. Like, probably we're gonna get more DLC, more like characters, stages, maybe updates where they add new assist trophies and stuff like that. But yeah, I would absolutely love them. I would love for them to treat this as a platform, like they were talking about. I think that they at one point considered doing that with Mario Kart 8, with Deluxe in particular. Like they were considering making more DLC for that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they should do that for Smash, where 5 years from now, 6 years from now, we still get a new character or a new stage
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, because visually the game looks amazing. I love the way it looks. The characters are super well animated. It's super colorful. I mean, honestly, until they release the successor of the Switch, and maybe even then, like, only update upon this thing. So,
Yeah.
I mean, because it's difficult to beat the everyone and everything is here concept, honestly.
Right.
And a very interesting thing that I found with the way that it was handled was the gameplay. They seem to be going back to melee in a lot of ways, with uh, air dodge being now, how do you say, directional? Yeah, right. Directional, and
Well, it's both directional and on the spot. So there's like the melee way and the brawl way, I guess.
right, and well, and it's also very expanding upon because it's faster than Smash Wii U. I'm pretty sure it's not as fast as Melee, but
No.
faster than Wii U. We have some mechanics from Melee, but we also have a lot of the air game and the recoveries and stuff like that from the newer games. So it does seem to try to take stuff from all previous games in a way.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't know. What do you think also about all the stages that we've seen so far and all the assist trophies? I think that they were saying that we are only missing like 11 levels or 11 stages for us to have every stage in Smash history. So,
I mean, I think we're probably gonna get it. I mean, the idea of this seems to be, first off, have the entire content that has ever been in Smash Bros. Maybe omitting some stuff, like probably there's not gonna be Subspace Emissary. Probably Smash Tour is not gonna be in there. I mean, or maybe it's gonna be heavily changed. But I mean, apart from that, everything else seems to be here. So yeah, I would count on those 11 stages coming back. And even if they don't, I mean, we have like more than 80 stages. That's unheard of.
yeah, it's absolutely not a complaint in the name of, oh, we have so little content. It's not that at all. It's just that, hey, we already have like 65 characters or so, and we're gonna have more. So, I mean, it's honestly crazy to think.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine just I want to play with every character today. You're gonna be there for a while, you know. Or I want to play every
Definitely.
stage. It's. I mean, just the sheer amount of content is. I mean, you can be playing 8-player Smash, and you're still gonna have such a small percentage of the roster there.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it's such an undertaking that I think that we've been so spoiled by Smash that this is just the next step. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just, like, especially with competitive games and this kind of roster-based multiplayer games.
Hmm.
It's like they always shrink in characters and shrink in stages and, you know, expand
Yeah.
in other ways. No, Smash expands in every way, so it's
Yeah.
honestly amazing. Um, what do you think about the new characters that we've seen so far, including the
Uh,
Echo Fighters and the newcomers?
hmm Well, I thought that they really listened to the fans this time. Like sometimes in the past, people liked the characters that they included, but they're like, huh, I never maybe thought about that character, or I haven't heard people really asking for that character. But right now, I think we got only characters that we were asking for, like returning characters, of course, but then Ridley, you know, he has been asked for ages, and he has really actually been like acknowledged in the past that Sakurai was saying like, yeah, I don't think that Ridley would be a good idea. He's too big and whatnot. And he was like, okay, guys, I heard you enough. I'm gonna put it finally. You know, and other characters like Daisy had been asked a lot, and who else knew? I mean, the Splatoon character we already knew about, but he seems to have she or he, whatever, seems to have a really interesting moveset. I mean, they really always look at the games and try to get an interesting moveset from everybody, and they seem to have done it again.
Yeah, I'm honestly pretty pleased with what we've seen so far in terms of both newcomers and the Echo Fighters. I mean,
Hmm.
Echo Fighters are basically clones, but I
Yeah.
like this idea that they are now acknowledge them as Echo Fighters, because I feel that many
Yeah.
characters that we like among fans, we were like, oh, maybe Dark Samus could come to Smash because it would be easy to be made, or
Yeah.
Dixie Kong, or Daisy. Like we were talking about Daisy like that, where oh,
Of course.
maybe they can bring her in if it's a Peach clone.
Hmm.
And so I think that Sakurai just opened the floodgates to so many clones. I mean, Echo Fighters. Uh, I mean, the sky is the limit now. Honestly,
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, Funky Kong as a Donkey Kong clone. I don't know. I don't know. So many possibilities.
Hmm.
And now he said that we're not going to see, like Sakurai said, that we're not gonna see a lot of newcomers or more newcomers. What would be your estimation in terms of the number of new characters that we're going to see from now until the release of the game?
Uh, I would say I would be surprised if it's less than three more. Like I know that Sakurai say that not expect a lot more, but you know he's gotta create some kind of hype for the game from now until December. I mean I know that the game is pretty hyped right now because it's just been announced, or you know the past couple of weeks. But you know it's gonna start to fade out a bit in the coming months, and we need some more hype for that. So yeah, I would say a minimum of three, maybe maximum of five.
Yeah, I'm thinking somewhere like 5 characters as well. I mean, we are 6 months away from the release of the game, so I was thinking maybe they will release or maybe show a new character each month, and there's going to be one character that we're not gonna know about until the game comes out, or something like that. Like they did last time, where we didn't know about Dr. Mario and we didn't know about other characters. until the game came out. So
Yeah.
I think that we're gonna see something like that, of course, in a smaller scale.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think that we're going to see some DLC characters. Do you think that we'll be seeing DLC characters yourself?
Yeah, I think we definitely are gonna see DLC characters for the game.
Yeah, me too. I'm thinking that we're going to probably see like we did with Wii U, pretty much like 7 characters. Seems to be a good number for
Yeah.
DLC. Maybe across I don't know, a year and a half or 2 years of updates
Mm-hmm.
alongside stages that may be or may not be related to those newcomers.
Yeah.
So yeah, and what else did you think was cool or interesting about the trailer and, well, pretty much the 3 days that we saw Smash?
Uh, I thought it was pretty the entire presentation of Smash, like the HUD and how the graphics of the game, like how everything looked. It looks much more flashy and cool. When you kill someone and you're 1v1 and the score appears right there, and the new character portraits. Everything looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks really really cool. Personally, something that I really liked was the fact that, well, of course everyone is here, but the fact that Young Link became back,
Hmm.
because Majora's Mask is one of my favorite games of all time, and seeing him back is absolutely hype for me.
Yeah.
And another thing that I really liked is that every amiibo is going to be compatible with the game, because I have every single Smash character in amiibo form, either from the Smash line or other lines.
Yeah.
So I already have like 60 or so amiibo that work with the game, so I'm pretty hyped for that as well, in a weird way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do you have anything else that you'd like to add about Super Smash Bros. Ultimate?
No, just I can't wait for it to come out.
Yeah, I can't wait either. December can't come soon enough, honestly. I mean, there's so many games that are going to hold us over, but still, it's the one that we're going to be talking about the whole year.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, I guess that's it for this particular discussion. Now, I'd like to pass it to you guys. What games did you like about E3? There's so much stuff that we didn't talk about here. Like, maybe you like the new the Elder Scrolls announcements, or you found the Skyrim for Alexa funny, or you like Starlink, or all these games that were announced. So we definitely want to know what you guys liked about the presentations. Well, that's it for now. Now you can subscribe to us here if you'd like to see more of our conversations. You can follow us on all social media, links in the description below. And this has been Paco Trevino, and today I was joined by Laura Chapa.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Until next time, bye bye guys.